Hello, and welcome to Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. My name is Mary Bear Shannon. I am a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library. And again, you have stumbled upon Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. We've been doing this for a number of months while we have all been home quarantining and trying to stay socially distant. And we have been sharing our recipes both on our Facebook page as well as on this Facebook Live event. Um, and I just wanted to just let you know a couple of things before we get started. If you've never come across this program, it is a place for us to share recipes, talk about substitutions. I do a little demonstrating during Facebook Live. It's no Food Network, but we do our best here. And again, there is the Facebook page that you can, we would love for you to join. It is a place to share what you've been cooking at home, as well as share those recipes and pictures, as well as it's a good forum to talk about how you substitute things, especially when there have been shortages. There are fewer shortages now, but there were really at the beginning of the pandemic, and that was a really good place to share. Okay, I don't have cream of tartar, so what do I use? So that really is the purpose of Kickin' Cooking. My name again is Mary Bear Shannon. I am a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library. A couple more things. If you don't already know, the library is now open to patrons. We opened last Monday for people to come in and browse books and check them out. We do ask people to wear a mask, and we are really we are describing our service in person as a grab and go service. And so we would not like you to stay too long and read, but we would love for you to come and get your books. So that is, we open each day at 10, from 10 to 11. We do reserve that time for older patrons as well as people with health issues. At 11 o'clock, we have 3 nights where we're open until 8. That is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, we're open till 6. Friday and Saturday, we're open till 5. And then we are closed on Sunday. The other thing I just wanted to give people a heads up about is this is the week that we do our, during the month, the 4th Wednesday of the month, we do our Herb Corner with Jen and Mary. And that will be coming up this Wednesday. Jennifer and I are going to be talking about various herbs. I'm actually going to be talking about something that I don't know a whole lot about, so I've been doing a lot of learning this week, and that's lavender. I just got some lavender from the Head Nut, so you should tune in on Wednesday at 3 o'clock to find out what I've been cooking with lavender. Jennifer is going to talk about herbs and their uses for treating coronavirus. So that, again, is this Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And then lastly, we have our first program in person. It's going to be at a park because our building is not actually open for programming at this point. We are really excited to have our first, we're calling it our Library Afternoon in the Park at Merwood Park on August 13th. That's a Thursday from 2 to 5. We will have books for people to browse and check out. We will also have a socially distanced story time with Miss Richey. That'll be at 2:30. And we're also going to have a socially distant drumming circle. We had our first last fall at the library, and we're going to have our second. That'll be at 4 o'clock during our library afternoon in the park. That's going to be at Merwood. You can find more information on Facebook and on our website. We do have some flyers in the library too, so if you end up at the library, you can take a flyer and put that on your refrigerator. Again, that is going to be August 13th. Again, my name is Mary Bear Shannon. I am a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library, and this is Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. So today, as you know, we all know, it is just too hot to have the stove on. I'm very lucky to have air conditioning at home, but I think that putting the stove or the oven on, I think would about send us over the edge. So we are going to try to do something cool and refreshing. And I would like to talk about and actually demonstrate making gazpacho, which is one of my all-time summer favorites. And you don't have to turn on your stove, which is great. It's not only delicious, but it's good and good for you. There are some health benefits to gazpacho. There are little to no calories. It's actually very filling. So if you're looking to fill your stomach with good nutritious food, and not feel terribly hungry afterwards, gazpacho is the cold soup for you. It is a cold tomato soup. It is nutrient rich. It's full of vitamin C and magnesium, vitamin A and B12. It's also, tomatoes have lycopene, which is in tomatoes, which is an antioxidant. And it's also a really great way to hydrate on a really hot day. So you're really kind of drinking your vegetables above and beyond like V8, which some people like and some people don't. But I think this is a great filling soup that's really good for you. So the other thing is it's Monday, and if people are trying to follow meatless Mondays, this would be a good soup to have if you're trying to go without meat on Mondays. I guess my memories of gazpacho, my mom used to make, especially on really, really hot days. I could always tell that we were headed into a heat wave when my mom would make gazpacho. I was really interested to find out about the history of gazpacho. Of course, it's a classic Spanish dish. It's regional in Spain, and as well as Portugal. It originated in the southern regions of the Iberian Peninsula, specifically in Andalusia. And spread into the Algarve regions. The other interesting thing is that they believe that gazpacho was actually imported. There are influences of gazpacho from Greece and Rome, but it also has quite a bit of influences from the Moors and Arab culture, which I think is kind of interesting. So the original soup that was gazpacho used to be blended stale bread, olive oil, and garlic, with some kind of liquid, either water or vinegar, was poured in, and then it was crushed with a mortar and pestle. And then different vegetables and almonds were available and were also added. Tomatoes were added much later. So I think that's kind of it's interesting to know about the history of gazpacho. I looked at a couple of different recipes. I'm not sure I actually have a favorite, but I wanted to show a traditional gazpacho, and so I found a really good one through Williams and Sonoma. I will actually put this on our on the comment section of the Facebook Live event. I'll put the recipe as well as what the finished product looked like. So anyway, here we go with showing you how to do gazpacho. We're going to head over to my kitchen. So here we go. Okay. So we're in my kitchen. Again, most of the time, you know that when we start demonstrating, you see less of me and more of my midsection. So we're going to point this down to my blender. You can also use this for with a food processor. My food processor is not doing terribly well, so we're going to try the blender for this. And the first thing we're going to do is puree the tomatoes. This recipe calls for about 6 beefsteak or really ripe tomatoes Fortunately, we are in the right season to do that. So I am going to do about half of them, and I'm going to puree them and put this in our bowl. So let me get started with that. And the other ones, this is about half of the tomatoes. The other ones are going to be roughly chopped. So we are going to but we're going to puree the first to start. So we're going to put this on top, and we're going to put a little bit of vinegar in here to make sure that it has some smooth consistency. You're going to use about probably 6 tablespoons of vinegar for this, but you can use that in between each element. And I'm just going to make sure that this gets completely pureed. Keep kind of stirring this and get it. See, the blender is not as good as a food processor, but we'll make do with that. Just kind of pureeing it, and it's going to start working its way to the bottom here. There we go. Getting it. Probably should have cut these up a little bit more, but now it's really getting pureed here. And that is pretty much liquefied now. So we are going to actually, as you can see, this is a pureed some tomatoes. The other thing just to know about these tomatoes is that I peeled them. I actually put them in hot boiling water for about 30 seconds, and then the peels easily came off. And then I seeded them. So I opened them up and got all the seeds out before I started to puree these. So, all right. So the next ingredient is our onions. This is a small red onion, and this is just kind of roughly chopped. This is going to go in, and this also is going to be pureed. And we're also going to add some red wine vinegar just so that we have this kind of lubricated for it to actually puree. Later, we're going to have some very minced red onion for a garnish, or kind of to mix in to make it a little chunky, but we do need kind of the base of this soup. So we're just going to puree this as much as we can. This is doing pretty well. Like this, and ooh, this needs a little bit more puree. This is going to have the lovely essence of red onion. It's only a small red onion because it can be very strong in flavor. Take a look at that. That is actually pretty well pureed at this point. That is going to go in now, and we're going to kind of scrape this down. So we have pureed tomatoes in here now. We now have pureed red onion with a little bit of red vinegar. And the next thing we're going to do, this will not be pureed. This will be kind of more chopped, is an English cucumber. This is seeded and diced, and this is going to go into the blender for just some further chopping. So the other thing we want to put in here is I have some chopped garlic, not minced, but just chopped. And that is also, we're going to, again, put a little bit more red wine vinegar. And then we are going to not puree, we're going to kind of rough chop this. stirring this around so that it will chop. This is getting more of a rough chop. We're going to do this just for a little bit longer. We don't want this completely pureed. And that's pretty good. That's kind of more of a rough chop. And that's going in now. That's our cucumbers and our garlic. Again, we are making gazpacho today in my kitchen. And we are doing each vegetable kind of at one time. We have now pureed tomatoes. We've pureed our red onion, and now we have kind of roughly chopped our English cucumber, which I have seeded and diced. And then just looking here to see what we have the rest. So then we are going to put our tomatoes back in there, and I am actually going to pull out a knife just to make sure that we get these. I want these rough chopped. I don't want them pureed. This is the rest of the tomatoes, and I'm just going to cut these up so that they get to the size that I want without making it completely pureed. So we're going to give it a little bit of help here. If this was a food processor, I think this would do better, but it is not. So and oops, just going to cut these up a little bit more. And again, we want this as a rough chop. And we're going to finish cutting these up. And I'm just kind of rough chopping these so that they will cut up a little bit more in the blender. And again, I'm going to put a little bit more red wine vinegar. It's about 6 tablespoons total. You're really just using it as eventually you want this in the dish, but this is just helping to kind of facilitate that blender. Just going to stir these around. And these are just kind of getting a rough chop. Okay. So, and we're going to put that in as well. So again, those were a little bit chunkier than the first ones. Okay, and I think that's all we need at this point with our blender. So we're going to put that away and put this to the side. So we have our cucumbers, we have our red onion. It's looking really good. We're going to whisk this up. So I'm going to take a whisk. And then what we're going to put in here is a cup of extra virgin olive oil. So we are going to, and we're just going to whisk that in with the vegetables. And then we're also going to use a little bit more red wine vinegar to taste, along with salt and pepper, and to taste as well. Okay, so here goes the olive oil, and we're just whisking this all around and incorporating it in with the other vegetables. And again, we're making gazpacho today on Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. We have pureed and roughly chopped tomatoes and cucumbers, red onion, as well as some red wine vinegar. Eventually, we're going to have some more chunky things to finish this, like green pepper, as well as a little bit of more minced red onion. But this is pretty much incorporated now, so that is our soup. And so the next step is to put this in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. When you are ready to serve, it's going to be nice and cold. You're going to put in a finely diced green pepper, as well as a very, very minced red, about, a quarter cup of red onion that's going to go to finish the soup. And then finally, you're going to, just before you serve, and today I bought this really beautiful loaf of bread. We're going to cut that up about 5 or 6 pieces in cubes, and we are going to put some more olive oil in this pan, as well as a minced clove of garlic, and then we're just going to brown it, and we're literally just going to serve that right in with the cold soup. So the bread is a really important part of gazpacho. So that's it today for Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. We made traditional gazpacho. This was a Williams and Sonoma recipe. Again, I will put it on the Kickin' Cooking and Quarantine Facebook Live event, as well as a picture of the final product. So thanks for joining us today, and have a great day.